Colleagues, first of all, I want to thank the senator from the 21st for this bill. I wasn't super warm about the bill when I first saw it, but there's some language added over in the House. Once again, held a subcommittee hearing on the Appropriations Compensation Subcommittee, as I was asked to. Got a lot of testimony. We do something a little different on the Senate side than they do across the way. When we have a hearing about legislation, we invite everybody in, all impacted parties. So when we talk about compensation for the wrongly convicted, we invite not only the individual who claims they were wrongly convicted, but we invite the district attorneys in, we invite defense attorneys in, and we do something really, really strange over here. We invite the families of the victims, because I've yet to see a compensation request that did not involve the murder of a Georgia citizen. I want to be clear. These aren't stealing cars. These aren't robbing stores or burglarizing homes. These are killing other human beings. And I ran into this my second year up here when I voted for compensating two gentlemen out of Savannah, where a witness came back, the primary witness came back and said, "I lied." And it was discovered that the district attorney in Savannah had purposely hidden discovery. Both of those acts are impediments to due process. And then in that same year, I voted to deny compensation from a gentleman in my district who drove the getaway car in an armored car robbery where the armored car guard was assassinated as he was doing his job 2 days before Christmas in Columbus, Georgia. Because of a technicality, the case had been sent back to the district attorney, who no longer had the witnesses she needed to prove the case, so she chose to null pros the case, which means to not prosecute the case, re-prosecute the case. No wrongdoing, nothing done erroneous by the trial court, nothing done erroneous or mischievous or any attempt to hide discovery or any witness perjured themselves, none of that. But I voted against it. And because I voted against it, I became somebody who does not appreciate justice, does not appreciate due process, and thinks that everybody arrested is guilty. And of course, those in this chamber that know me know that is not who I am. But one thing I did discover through this process is several years ago, a group of attorneys discovered a crack in the system. And that crack in the system was to go through the Secretary of State's office and tap into a process there that is used to make people whole when the state makes a mistake. And there's 4 attorneys, department heads, or their representatives that serve on this board that makes those decisions. Now understand, we're talking about criminal law. We're talking about due process. These attorneys on this committee come from the Department of Transportation, Department of Health Services, Health and Human Services, and 2 other attorneys. And it's run by a young lady out of the Secretary of State's office who does an incredible job. But what I realized is the process is not a good process. So we've been working back and forth on trying to figure out what the process is, or we attempted to work back and forth on what the process is. But my friends across the hall don't want our help, don't want my help in figuring out the process. So when we're here in a legislative session, they see an opportunity to tack something on that they think is the solution. And I'm going to tell you, part of the thing they tacked on is not a terrible thing. Another portion of it is very questionable, and it'll be decided if it's right or wrong. And so, while I have and always will act in good faith as we move through the process, then I'm going to ask you today to support the senator from the 21st and vote for this legislation. And in the off season, we'll tackle the other thing that's attached to it. And we'll come up with a process that works. But I want to be perfectly clear on something. I listened to some compensation resolutions the other day. One, looking at all the evidence, and this is 20 years down the road. One where an individual's already filed a 1983 action, so he wants 2 or 3 bites at the apple. Another one where some people were in a gun battle, and as the person being sex trafficked was fleeing the scene, she was shot through the roof of a car in the head and killed. The person that shot at her, no matter the circumstances, that they're out of prison, they murdered somebody. Another one where a gentleman and another guy were in a room by themselves, and the testimony of the person in the room was that the individual killed themselves playing Russian roulette with a gun that the accused and the convicted introduced into the scene. But we did something unusual in this too. We invited the victims' families there to talk too. We had trial transcripts there. We had one guy there who said he did not shoot a young man going down the road in his car, did not participate in the murder of a young man going down the road in his car, over a girl that they both were interested in. But amazingly, the transcripts from a phone call he made from prison may tell an entirely different story, where he calls that female, calls her horrific names, and threatens to kill her. So understand, if anybody in this state is innocent and they're convicted, we should make sure that we take care of them. We should make sure they have due process. But we need to do it the right way. And we need to start remembering that for every crime there is, and there are 50,000 people in the Georgia Department of Corrections, which means there are thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of crime victims, if they are alive, walking the streets of this state, looking for somebody to stand up for them. And we in this chamber are elected to represent 200,000 people. And I've told you before, if you need a kidney, I can give you one. The senator from the 56th has shown that. If you need corneas, I got to do a little more to get you one of those. But anything that is transferable, I'll give you. But there's one thing I can't give you, and that's a backbone. You're either born with one, you either develop one, or life's going to be tough on you. Support this bill, get it across, and I promise you the fight's not over. Thank you, Mr. President. I yield the well.